Hello everybody. I thought I'd do another chatty video today because Louie and Rye have just left. They've gone to stay at somebody else's place, and Louie had been doing a chatty video right here in this setting, so I thought, oh yeah, I could do that too. And I've got the house to myself suddenly. I've had an admin day at home today, and I'd been thinking I've really got to do something fun, and I was going to edit my weekly vlog, but although it's kind of fun, it's a lot of hard work as well, because there's so many different clips and it takes ages to edit, whereas these chatty videos don't take long at all. And also, I wanted to just do a fun one because quite often the chatty videos that I do are very kind of serious and they're about some kind of serious life lesson. So today, as I'm suffering a bit, I thought I would tell you about my cat allergy. So it sounds like I've got a cold, but I was thinking it doesn't feel like a cold. You know, you feel more kind of like inflamed and that sort of thing when you have a cold, don't you? But my nose is running, I keep sneezing, my eyes are itching. And then I remembered that we went for dinner to some friends on Saturday and they have a cat. Maybe it was Sunday, yeah, Sunday. After dinner, we were sitting on their sofas and their cat walked in and it just walked right over me. And I kind of went, oh, and they were like, oh, don't you like cats? Yeah, I love cats, but I'm really allergic. Oh yes, we forgot. And they ushered it outside. So 3 days later, I had a sore throat and I'd forgotten about the cat thing. And I had been thinking, yeah, maybe I've got a cold. And then I suddenly thought, no, this feels like the cat allergy thing. So yesterday, which was Wednesday, I was trying to figure out why it was still bothering me. Then I realised I was wearing the same jumper as I was on Sunday. So I took that off and everything improved very much. But it takes a few days for it all to clear. So I'm still a bit stuffed up and my eyes are still really itchy. When I was younger, I wasn't allergic to cats at all, and I used to babysit for somebody a couple of doors away, and they had a cat. My mum never wanted to have cats. She had always had dogs when she was growing up, and she didn't want to have dogs either because she always got so upset when they died, but she didn't seem really into cats. Interestingly though, when I left home, she suddenly got really into cats. I think my brother had a friend who had kittens and he brought one home and my mum fell in love with it. And then it had kittens, and then she kept one of those. So she had 2 cats for a while and then they disappeared and she got 2 more. So she had cats for years after I left home. So I babysit for this neighbour and I'd have the cat on my lap all night and there'd be no ill effects. So I never imagined that I was allergic to cats. Then, in my 20s, I started going out with Ben, dating Ben, and every time we visited his parents in Bristol, I seemed to get a really bad cold, and I could never understand why. And I used to think, they'll think I'm so unhealthy, and my nose would be streaming, and Ben used to joke that my top lip would disappear because everything would get so raw. And then weirdly, my cold would clear up within days of arriving back. And before we got married, I kept getting really bad colds, and I went to the doctor and the doctor said, oh, you should be having a summer wedding, because we got married in March, and he seemed to think it was because I had a new job in London and getting on the train I was exposed to all sorts of germs and things that I wasn't immune to yet with commuting. But a few years later, when I was expecting Hilary, some friends said to us, they were going on holiday and they'd just got some new kittens and we didn't have a TV. I know, sounds crazy. And they said, why don't you come and watch our TV and relax in the evenings now that you're heavily pregnant, and you could feed our cats, our new kittens. And that's when I realised every time I walked in their house, everything would just stream. And that's the first time I realised I was allergic to cats. And then I suddenly clocked when we used to visit Ben's parents, his mum has a cat, and I didn't get a cold at all. It was just a cat allergy. And then also when Ben and I were going out, when we were engaged, he was lodging with a family who had new kittens, and that was why I kept getting colds as well. So I suddenly realised I'm allergic to cats. I wasn't really around cats much, so it didn't really matter. But I realised I was going to have to ask Ben's mum to put us in a bedroom that the cat didn't sleep in. So I just started avoiding different situations. And my neighbour had a cat, and quite a few of the neighbours had cats, and they would ask me if I'd feed them when they went on holiday, and that was fine, just like quickly going in, opening a tin of cat food and going out again. And then one time when I was feeding my neighbour's cat, it was called Hector, it was a really big brute, it figured out where it was getting its food from and it came scratching on the door. And we had friends around for dinner, and I let the cat in, and I thought it won't matter if I just stroke it for a little bit, and I put it on my lap, and it was a lovely cat. And then all of a sudden I had the worst allergic reaction I've ever had. So you know the little bit in your eye that has a little pink bit, and in birds I think it's like a third eyelid or something like that. That bit all swelled up and all round my eye like a thick layer of pink jelly converged onto my iris. The people at dinner couldn't look at me without gagging. So obviously I put the cat outside, and I ended up having to go to hospital and got put on antihistamines. And every time people saw me, they thought I'd been crying my eyes out, and they would say, "Are you all right? You look really upset." I was like, "Yeah, I've just had an allergic reaction to a cat." So I thought, okay, I can't risk it at all. The kids, of course, wanted to have pets when they were little and wanted to have cats, and I had to keep saying, "No, I'm sorry, I'm allergic to cats." And then a friend of mine very helpfully advised me that if you get a cat, you become immune to your own cat. Yeah, right. There is a grain of truth in it. You do become somewhat accustomed. So, without really testing it out, a friend of Louis had kittens, and he'd fallen in love with one of the kittens, and a friend of Louis' cat had kittens, and he persuaded me, and on the advice of this friend who said I'd become immune to my own cat, we got this cute little kitten. It was black and it was called Figaro, and that is after the little cat in the Pinocchio cartoon. And for 6 weeks I streamed and streamed, but after 6 weeks it did subside a bit. But for the entire time that we had that cat, 11 years, it was always an irritation, but it wasn't like really, really bad. So it wasn't too bad. Creaky still. There was one time when we realised the cat had caught fleas that I got some flea powder and I rubbed it into the cat, and I didn't realise what part of the cat you're allergic to, but apparently it's its dander, and of course that just churned it all up. And I got so bad, I got so asthmatic, I was like coughing and couldn't breathe in. It would just go into a spasm of coughing and I couldn't breathe in again, and I had to go out of the house and get into the fresh air, and it subsided. And I think Hilary was like really worried and really frightened, and she was quite small, like 10 or something, and she phoned the doctor. Actually, I have no idea how old she was, I'm just guessing. But she phoned the doctor, and the doctor came round, I think, in the days when doctors would come round. And he said, right, don't ever put flea powder on the cat again. Okay, that can't be your job in this pet care scenario. You've got to let somebody else in the family do the flea treatment. And he prescribed an inhaler. So I had an inhaler for quite a few years. Anytime I would really start to get really wheezy and go into these coughing spasms, I had to use this inhaler. I don't think it was one of the ones that has steroids in it. So anyway, and then when the cat was 11, it passed away, and it was such relief. Oh, another thing that was really helpful was when I got a Dyson vacuum cleaner. I don't think I ever had to use my inhaler after that. I used it like when we went to Ben's sister and she had a cat. I had to use it then when everybody was jumping on the sofas, all the kids were jumping on the sofas, and it kicked up all the dust and dander or whatever it is that you're allergic to. But yeah, at home, using the Dyson vacuum cleaner, such a good vacuum cleaner, it really eliminated everything. So there we go, that's my cat allergy story, and that is why I sound like I've got a cold at the moment, and my nose is streaming and my eyes are streaming, because we had dinner at our friends the other day and they've got a cat and it climbed all over me. So there you go. There is a pointless video for a change. See you next time.